A bill to loosen the state's gun regulations is one step closer to becoming Texas law. The state Senate passed a bill that would allow people to carry handguns without a state-issued permit. That means Texans would not need a license, nor would they need to go through any training before carrying a gun. The approval came despite objections from law enforcement. The bill passed along party lines, but the bill's author had to make a few changes before some Republican senators would get on board.
This, of course, isn't the first session that, as Republicans coin it, constitutional carry has come up. And you had a lot of Republicans rise up during the debate, express concerns, whether it was over protecting domestic violence victims or the fact that law enforcement, hasn't had a full-throated support of this measure. You did see the Sheriff's Association of Texas send a letter to the bill's author, Charles Schwartner, saying you need to make these, changes, these tweaks, clarifications. There were 3 of them. And he did that, amended it, it passed, and the governor has indicated he will sign the bill.
Senators added several amendments to the bill, among them a provision to prevent anyone from legally carrying a handgun if that person was convicted of crimes such as terroristic threat, deadly conduct, or assault with bodily injury within the past 5 years. Other amendments included increased penalties for felons caught and people with family violence convictions caught with a firearm. Senators also affirmed that a person cannot carry a handgun while intoxicated in a public space. The legislation now returns to the Texas House for members to consider the amendments the Senate added before sending it to Governor Greg Abbott's desk. The move puts Texas in the company of 5 other states that have passed some sort of permitless carry legislation this year. Those states are Iowa, Tennessee, Montana, Utah, and Wyoming. More than a dozen states have introduced similar measures this year.
My dad's case was never taken seriously.
Emotional testimony from families pushing for a law to help solve missing persons cases. The latest progress and what's next for the bill. The big plan and the big price tag.
Let me be clear, we can afford this. In fact, I would argue we can't afford not to do this.
We go in depth with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg about the president's huge infrastructure plan and what it could mean for Texas.